honored today to have with us Ross Kegan. He is representing the Richard and Leslie Gilliam Foundation, and he is here today to make a presentation regarding the Blackjewel coal miners and their recent layoffs. So, Mr. Kegan, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Rachel. As she said, I'm here representing Richard and Leslie Gilliam. I'm just the mail carrier and the message carrier today. Some of you all may know Richard Gilliam was born and raised in Wise. Leslie Gilliam was a Jonesville girl, and the family operated coal mines in Southwest Virginia, Southeastern Kentucky their whole career. Richard and his late wife Leslie formed this foundation many years ago, and they do a lot of good things through that foundation. When he exited the coal business in 2010, I believe the consensus was he did it with class. He was very generous to his employees and left with a legacy and a good reputation. But that didn't stop his affection for the industry and the workers that perform the hard task of mining coal. You know, we don't have a single resource in this country unless you grow it or you extract it from the ground. And to me, those two things, it's food security and energy security, or natural resource security, are the two basic things that support any strong country. And it's an underappreciated aspect, farmers and miners in this country. People in the city don't really respect what us people in the rural part of this country do to make this country work and make this country secure. But I know Richard has not forgotten the work that these miners do. So when he heard of the plight that they had, this sudden, abrupt end of their employment and the last paycheck bouncing, it disturbed him and moved him. So he contacted me and asked if I could help him find a way to reach out to these families and provide some financial assistance. Well, I called a friend of mine who worked for Blackjewel. He said there's maybe 600 of them, and I thought, well, I'm not sure how to find 600 people spread out in 2 states and 6 or 8 counties. So I started making some calls and learned that 2 county judges in Kentucky and Southwest Virginia Workforce Development had already done the work. They'd done the hard work of holding events and signing up people and finding those families that were the most in need and the most severely impacted. So that made the Gilliam Foundation's job much easier, because you all provided leadership and did what needed to be done to support these families. So I want to commend Alita and Rachel and Andy and all those who have seen that the groundwork was laid to be able to reach out to these families. So as I talked with Richard, he struggled with exactly what to do, but he wanted to get money into the hands of those families. So as of last week, there were 125 impacted miners and their families who had signed up, were in the database that was maintained by the workforce development folks. So I shared that with Richard, and what he has elected to do is he wants to get $2,000 into the hands of each of those 125 families. So the board has graciously agreed to do the work of contacting those people and getting the resources into their hands to help smooth out this bad set of circumstances that have befallen them. So with that, I do want to present a check from the Richard and Leslie Gilliam Foundation to the board, Workforce Development Board. I don't know who's going to deposit this check, but I'll hand it to you. But it's a check for $250,000 for the purpose of getting $2,000 into each of those 125 families' hands. And I worked for the Gilliam family for 11 years. I saw how he thought, how he cared for people, and I would say that just a handful of these miners worked for Richard. He didn't say, I want to find the people that work for me. I said, well, you're talking about other companies, people that never worked for you, people you never knew. It didn't matter. They were coal miners. And and that's who he wanted to help. So that's the purpose behind it, and we're entrusting the board, Workforce Development Board, to follow through and get the money in their hands. And just, I know on behalf of the foundation, they're thankful for the opportunity to show some support to these people.
Well, thank you. We are so honored that you would give us the opportunity to help you with this endeavor, and just thank the Gilliam family for their generosity to these families. It'll make a great deal of difference for them.
I mentioned this, I've been to Harlan County and Letcher County already today, and it's a joy for me to get to hand the check. It's not my money, and I didn't write it. It's a joy to be able to hand it, but I would rather be in the seat of the people who are getting the $2,000 to each of those 125 families. That's where the joy is, in the giving and the receiving of that. So I envy you all that get to follow through. But thank you.